You ever walk into a room and immediately assume everyone in there secretly hates your guts? No one said anything. No one looked at you weird. The vibes are neutral at worst, but your brain is already whispering she thinks you're cringe and that guy's probably texting his group chat about how annoying you sound. And you just accept that, because you're insane. And by insane, I mean human. What's actually happening here is called rejection sensitivity. Your brain's ancient leftover survival system designed to detect if the tribe is about to vote you off the island. And the best part? It works off zero actual information. One person clears their throat too loud and you're like, well, guess I'll be emotionally exiled now. Better spiral for 3 to 5 business days. It gets worse. You know that thing where someone doesn't say hi and your brain goes, they definitely hate me, instead of they probably didn't see me, or maybe they were thinking about how anxious they are because they didn't acknowledge you. That's your negativity bias, which basically means your brain is designed to interpret neutral silence as low-key, an act of psychological violence. And you're not just reacting, you're projecting. You've decided you're annoying, so everyone else must think that too. Boom. Emotional reasoning. It's a cognitive distortion that makes you feel like your feelings are facts, even though your data is just vibes, guesswork, and a childhood fear of being left out. They're not mad at you. They're thinking about how broke they are. You're not being excluded. You're just quiet and forgot how eye contact works. So here's what your brain does next. It sees silence or a blank look or someone not laughing at your joke. And it goes, okay, cool, we're hated. Time to emotionally evacuate the building. Except there was no signal. You invented the signal. Then you believed the signal. Now you're crying about the signal. That's not intuition. That's hostile attribution bias, which sounds like a war crime, but is actually your tendency to assume that other people's neutral behavior is secretly negative and directed at you. They didn't text back. They're ghosting you. They said LOL instead of LMAO. They're done with you. They paused before saying hi. That pause was definitely a microaggression. And let's not forget your favorite party trick, emotional reasoning. You feel awkward, therefore you must be awkward. You feel disliked, therefore it's a fact. Because your brain doesn't care about logic when there's an opportunity to spiral. It just runs the simulation, full speed, with zero peer review. Also, you're suffering from a thing called the illusion of transparency. That's where you think everyone can tell exactly what you're feeling. Like if you're nervous, you assume you look nervous. If you feel awkward, you assume you're leaking weird energy through your pores like some kind of social toxin. But no one can tell. Everyone's too busy worrying about that invisible pimple on their face. We're all just sweaty meat robots performing for each other and assuming we're bombing. And when that illusion combines with your self-doubt, you get a full-blown internal PR crisis where you've decided you're annoying, unlikable, too much, not enough, and somehow all of the above, even though no one actually said anything to you. Okay, so now that you've misread the situation, projected all your worst insecurities onto everyone within a 20-foot radius, and convinced yourself you're the problem, your brain does something incredible. It puts the whole interaction on repeat. You leave the room, or the awkward Zoom call, and your mind goes, let's replay that 34-second moment 100 times and see how many new ways we can make you feel bad about it. That's called rumination, and it's basically emotional self-harm dressed up as self-awareness. You're not learning. You're just re-editing the same footage over and over with worse music. And let's not forget, your brain doesn't store memories like files. It stores them like TikToks your anxiety personally curates. That blank stare you got during your story, it wasn't judgment, it was a glitch in their attention span. But your memory rewrites it as if they looked at you like you were a socially confused raccoon. This is what psychologists call memory bias, where the way you felt becomes more real than what actually happened. You weren't ignored. You were tired, hungry, and emotionally projecting your high school trauma onto 3 strangers who didn't clap when you made a joke about airplane food. Meanwhile, the rest of the room, they forgot it already, but not you. You're in full spotlight effect mode, believing that everyone noticed your awkward moment, your weird phrasing, your too loud laugh. But in reality, nobody remembers because they're all too busy worrying about how they came off. We're all just little clusters of nerves scanning the room for perceived threats while assuming we are the threat. And your brain, being helpful, is like, hey bestie, let's hold on to this shame forever, just in case. At some point, you have to face a brutal truth. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Not because you're not worthy of thought, but because everyone is too self-absorbed, anxious, or busy, doom scrolling to remember your awkward wave from last Thursday. This should be depressing, but it's actually liberating, because the idea that everyone hates you is just your brain's way of making you the main character in a negative fantasy. And yeah, it feels like humility, like you're self-aware and emotionally in tune, but actually, it's just self-obsession with worse lighting. Thinking everyone is constantly judging you still makes everything about you. What you're calling self-hate is really just internal narcissism. 24/7 live stream of your worst case scenario, and every time you replay that moment, reanalyze that conversation, or assume silence equals secret hatred, you're giving your anxious brain exactly what it wants, control through misery. But here's the good news. You can break it, because the truth is, most people aren't against you. They're not for you either. They're just not thinking about you. They're busy trying to remember if they should get hit by a bus to get out of debt, or putting it all on red. And the second you stop trying to be perfectly likable and just exist, people start to feel safer around you, because you're not performing. You're not calculating. You're not stuck in your own head trying to win a game that no one else is playing. You're just a human, which is already weird and hard enough. So no, everyone doesn't hate you. They just forgot to like the version of you that only exists in your overthinking spiral, and thank God for that.